Our guest for this episode is a former CIA executive coach, and she really has a lot of interesting and inspiring stories when she worked at the CIA. But this interview now is all about figuring out how she got into coaching, what are some of her successes as an executive coach, and how she's using her wealth of wisdom and experience and insights now as an executive coach outside of the CIA. So our guest is Lynn Saboe. Lynn, welcome. How are you?
Hi, Arby. Just great. Thank you very much for having me on your broadcast. This is really exciting. So what would you like to know?
So let's begin with what got you into coaching?
I had started dating somebody from a financial institution downtown Washington. I went to a lot of different parties down there, and I went to one in the same building where our association was, and it happened to be a law firm. And one of their partners was Bill Colby. And Bill Colby was a former director of the Central Intelligence Agency in 1976. And it had just been 3 years after he had finished his tenure as the director of the CIA, and he was back being a lawyer. So nobody was talking to him. They were kind of treating him like he was some god or something at this office party. And that's another thing. Nobody's a god. Everybody puts on their clothes the same way, has the same concerns, eats the same kinds of food. Some food may be better than others, but basically it's all the same. So I went up to him and said, "You're Bill Colby, right?" And he said, "Yes." And I introduced myself. And I said, "Bill, what was it like working at the CIA? You were in charge of it all." And I said, "I'm an engineer. I'm working," and I told him my job. It was on a different floor of the same building. I said, "I'm folding up this trade association, and I'm looking for a new job. Do you think I should apply?" He said, "Oh, I definitely think you should apply." So I put in my application, and here's another thing. I asked him if he could be a reference. And he said, "Well, I don't know you very well, but you seem like a nice person, you know." And I said, "Listen, if you want to know anything about me, you ask my colleagues in my association 10 floors down." So he said, "Oh, okay." I used him as a reference. Well, did I get a job offer? Yeah. So I ended up going to work for the CIA. At the time, you couldn't tell anybody that. So that was the start of a 33-year career at the Central Intelligence Agency.
33 years.
That's how I got into executive coaching, as an engineer in the CIA. So I got a lot of engineering awards, but the things that really stood out for me was when I would form programs to help people to try and keep it going. Mentoring was my huge, huge deal. Mentoring people who were different. Women in particular in the technical arena. So I really helped the mentoring program for our Directorate of Science and Technology. I also formed a group mentoring program in the male-dominated communications world. And that group mentoring program won Program of the Year. It was in 2014. Each year, a program wins the Program of the Year for all programs across the CIA. So that one won the Program of the Year, which was huge for me. Now, I had founded it 7 years before that. It's been going for almost 15 years now. So it was not my award, it was the program's award. But that meant more to me, RV, than my personal awards, because it's the gift that keeps on giving. Do things to help people, make it systemic. I traveled all over the world helping these American leaders do well in different countries, working in multicultural environments. The awards that I got were in many cases team awards or awards that I would wish to share. I did get 2 medals at the end of my career, had a fabulous retirement. That was just the most special thing in the whole world. Got to bring in my family. So we as a family are very patriotic, but it's many of the things they heard, they had never heard before. So it was kind of an eye-opener for them. And since then, my passion has been executive coaching.
Well, so that's an interesting twist, Lynn. I mean, with all of your experiences from several industries, from several countries, I can imagine the amount of wisdom that you have with you that you can probably bring either to a coaching or mentoring engagement. So would you be able to share, I know coaching clients there's a confidentiality agreement, but anything at all that you can share about what makes you unique as an executive coach?
Sure. But that's a lovely question. And thank you so much for asking. There are several unique things that I bring, but it ties to what you said. I am able to use all of this experience to help understand people's situations. So I can coach people at the most senior levels, and I do. I have just completed a 3-year coaching engagement with one of the very few 4-star admirals in the US Navy. I consider him a really good friend. He is now retired, and he gave me a testimonial that I use on my website. But most of the people I coach can't give testimonials because they are in such sensitive situations or positions. I'm currently coaching about 13 admirals. I'm coaching a fleet, the team of a Navy fleet. I'm coaching a lot of seniors in the Army and people across the intelligence community and with other government agencies. I love to coach people in handling really challenging things and people in crisis. So I just got an SOS from a client this weekend that she had a crisis situation. And I coached her yesterday, and I think she felt a lot better. I love coaching people with differences, different backgrounds. So I coach a lot of people, private industry. I coach very senior people in the finance industries. I coach in the telecommunications and social media. So some of the companies range from Google to a lot of the big names in finance. I coach through other companies. So those companies usually protect the company names. So that's why I can't say them publicly, but they get the engagements. I coach some of their most senior, toughest clients. And when I say tough, all of these people are nice people with tough problems. I relate to their problem set in a way that many coaches can't, because I have seen so many problem sets. And I use a lot of coach training to apply different techniques at different times. So every engagement's different. And I use a whole variety of styles. So if somebody says, what's your style? It's like a kaleidoscope that I draw on to use for each client individually. So I'm a Marshall Goldsmith stakeholder-centered coach. I've done coaching with return on investment. I've done narrative coaching with Dr. David Drake. I'm taking breakthrough coaching with Marcia Reynolds. I'm doing accelerated coaching with, with David Peterson and David Goldsmith. I have a huge array. There are 20 assessments that I'm certified in, from the Hogan MBTI, EQI, the DISC, Leadership Versatility Index. I use 360 assessments, usually in whatever form they're done, to help my clients. If they don't have a 360 assessment, I will either ask to see how we could do one myself or how they could get one done through their company. And those really help a lot. And then I use those assessments and the information from the 360 to help each client in a very different way. But I love people who are dealing with multicultural problems, crises, need help with resilience, and need help now. Not just, oh, you'll walk me through some process, eventually I'll get it. I want people who need help now.
Wow, that is amazing, Lynn. And I guess when you say you can use different styles, looking at the wall, the wall where you have all of those plaques, I can imagine just how, just how you can combine so many things and maybe even come up with your own style from having integrated all of these things that you've been exposed to.
Yeah, it really is my own style, but my style can help, I think, any of my clients. So once they've chosen me, I have a huge repertoire of things that I can pull from to help them, and a lot of resources. And I'm not reticent to suggest, good things to read, videos to watch, things to see. Send them to your website, Arby. Well, what other questions do you have?
Well, actually, maybe something that ties it all up together, Lynn. As I listen to your amazing life story, what I'm really left with is someone who has reached for her full potential. You started out with so many things not going your way, not speaking the language, being in a new country where you didn't know anyone, to reaching such a pinnacle of success, both in the CIA and executive coaching. And I guess if there was one thing that you could share with people as they reach for their own full potential, what might that be?
It would be that it's different for every person. Just like I said, how I coach each person. And my success may not be your success. Nobody can do it just like another person has done it. Also, my success has always been also achieving a balance. So I've told you about the professional things, but the things that I am most proud of, honestly, Arvi, is to have had a balance through my whole life. I have given up certain opportunities. I have not strived for certain things because of so that I could maintain a balance in my life. It was tremendously important that I raise a son well, and that I maintain a really good closeness with him, and that I have a good marriage and maintain a very strong marriage. And a lot of those things, and family obligations, being able to be there for family obligations, they're different for every person. So you may make your definition of success balance at the time in life and with the factors that are most important to you and your value system. I've always kept a very strong faith as well, and have faith as part of my life. But my faith spans many faiths. So I appreciate elements of Buddhism, and I believe in a lot of things that are beyond my basic faith of upbringing, which is Christian. So there are a lot of factors that go into what is success in your life. And for me, it is keeping that balance and helping others, continuing to help others, and to be able to be there for people like you and your listening audience.
Wow. That makes it even more special, Lynn, because considering all of those accomplishments, you have rather like a rich personal life, and really balance is something that I suppose takes a long time to master, as people try to swing from one extreme to the other, eventually settling for their golden middle.
Right. I love that. The golden middle. And that's, I love that, RV. So that's how we should wrap this up. Try to achieve your golden middle, that you always stay in balance. And if you tip one way or the other, you're missing something. Don't be afraid to try new things, but always do those things in balance. And if something tips, try to get it back so that you have the right blend of things, staying true to your value system.
Wow. So Lynn, thank you very much for sharing your time with us.
My pleasure, RV.
I have picked a lot of things, and I'm sure whoever's going to watch this video is also going to pick up a lot of things as they try to make the most of their 2021 and beyond. Thank you very much.
I hope so. Thank you, RV. All the best to you. See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.